Now, please welcome to the program the idol of American youth, Ranger Doug of Riders in the Sky.
Yes, here I am, and glad to be here.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to have you here on the program, Ranger Doug, and thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for asking.
Oh, you're very welcome. I guess I know your time's limited, so how about we start at the beginning, if that's all right with you?
Sure.
How old were you when you first started to play the guitar and sing?
I was probably about 11. My mother was from the northern peninsula of Michigan, way up there in the Jack Pine and Timberwolf country. And all they had for entertainment in the 30s was radio. They all listened to the National Barn Dance, and they learned all the songs of Lulabelle and Scotty and Gene Autry and all the people who were popular on that particular barn dance at that time. And so growing up, when they'd get together, when we'd go up there for summer vacations, they'd bring out the guitar and whang away and sing a little bit, and it was kind of fun. And up there, of course, there was no TV or anything, and I was pretty bored, and I took the guitar down off the wall one day and started whanging on it, and never recovered.
So, did you start playing specifically Western music right away, or did you play more country music and then kind of moved into Western, or a little bit of both?
Oh, they played all kinds of folk and country and Western. My mom and dad did, or my mom did, and her brothers. My dad was not that musical. We moved to California in the 50s during Korea. My dad was sent overseas, so we moved out there, and that's where I saw a lot of cowboy music on TV, and it really stayed with me. I love the image, and I love the look, and I love what the songs were about. You know, a kid can't relate to a cheating girlfriend and drinking in a bar till you fall off the stool. You know, a kid can relate to getting on a horse and running around with your friends.
Of course.
Shooting six guns and singing songs with your buddies, you know that. So Western music resonated with me from the time I was real young.
Now, but music was not your first career choice, was it? You earned a master's degree in literature.
I did. I had I guess, I don't know when it was kind of a fantasy to be able to do it as a career, but so few people can really do that. So I was smart enough, and I came from a family who was compulsive about education enough to be careful to get a good education so that I could always work and play music for fun. But as it turned out, I've been able to play music for a living. So I just count my blessings every day for that. It's just what I want to do.
And wasn't it when you first moved to Nashville you were actually you worked as a writer, editor, and a historian for the Country Music Foundation?
Not when I first moved to Nashville. I first moved here in '68, and that's when I went to graduate school at Vanderbilt, which is a very thin ruse for being in Nashville and being able to play music every night.
I can understand that.
Right. I did get my degree in '71, and at that point, I had played with several bands on the road, and in Nashville. But I had two daughters by then, and so I got a job with the Hermitage, which is a museum that is actually Andrew Jackson's mansion and plantation. And did that for a while, and then I worked at Gruen Guitars for a while, and I was always playing music 2, 3, 4 nights a week, sometimes for pay, sometimes not, but that was clearly my passion. In 1974, I think, the Country Music Foundation opened up a spot at the Country Music Hall of Fame. They have a library there, fantastic library, and opened up a spot for me, so I worked there for about 2.5 or 3 years, and continued to play, different bands on the weekends. It was while we were doing that in 1977 that Too Slim and I put together the Riders for fun, and by August of '78, people loved it so much we quit our regular jobs and went on the road and haven't looked back.
Now, who were some of the original members of the Riders, along with you and Too Slim?
Well, Too Slim and I are the original two. The third guy was a guy named Bill Collins. We called him Windy Bill Collins, Willie Collins. He was with several different country bands, and very good player, a lot of fun, but he didn't ever think that this archaic music had a future, so he eventually gave it up.
Because it was sort of, in the late 70s, was the outlaw music of Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson was really taking a hold in Nashville.
Well, there was that, and of course there's the contemporary country music of the time, and what we did was, already 30 years out of date, and nobody thought there was anything but some fun value in it. We were one of those bands that's the favorite of all of the executives, but none of them would ever dream of signing you to a label. No commercial future in that. But we proved him wrong.
You sure did, and about a year after you founded the group, wasn't that when Woody Paul came along?
Yeah, it was about 9 months. Maybe it was August. That was the August of '78 when we sort of count that as our professional beginnings. We played the Kentucky State Fair 10 days for $2,500, and that's when Woody joined, and we were a trio for about 10 years, and then Joey started playing with us, first on records and on the radio, and then a few dates in person, and then a few more, and suddenly we couldn't get rid of the guy. We had to make him a partner.
Fabulous player, too. So,
yeah, he sure is.
After Woody joined the band, that's when you all signed your first recording contract, and that was with Rounder Records, wasn't it?
We did 7 albums for Rounder, and then we did, I believe, 4 or 5 for MCA. We did 3 for Columbia. Then we went back to Rounder for 2 or 3. And then we did those ones on Disney.
Fabulous album.
Which won Grammys. And then we did one on acoustic disc and one more on Rounder. And we put out the last one on our own label, Riders Radio Records. And who knows what the future will bring as far as records.
Sure. And but your first album wasn't it entitled 3 on the Trail?
It was.
And what was it like to record your first album?
Well, it was cold. The producer, we hired a producer because we didn't trust ourselves to do it. The producer liked it really cold in his studio. It was fun, We were young and full of ideas, and had a bunch of wonderful old Sons of the Pioneers songs we'd collected, and a bunch of tunes we'd tried to write in the same style, and that's sort of been our formula on most of our records ever since, is the combination of those classics and original tunes.
One of the probably most famous tracks from the album is How the Yodel Was Born, which we'll listen to in a little bit.
Great.
A fabulous tune, and it showed really that you could give a great musical performance while making a joke at the same time. And could you tell us a little bit about how... I assume this is the song, one of the songs that you and Too Slim wrote.
I wrote that, yeah. It was, it was a gag we'd been saying on stage, because people were always so interested in yodeling, and I could always yodel from, my uncles yodeled. I mean, it was just something I could do. And
fabulously.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And so we just, I think we were driving to North Carolina on a trip, and I just sat down in the back seat of the van and wrote the tune. And
after that, your unique performances brought you to other venues with newer opportunities, and in 1982 you became members of the Grand Ole Opry, and have become since then one of their signature acts, and one of their most popular acts, I would say. And so,
well, thanks. We still treasure being members. That we've celebrated 26 years now as members, but we bring something to the show. They could see that we were bringing something to the show that nobody else has, which is not only authentic old-time Western music, which they didn't have, but also a lot of humor. And it's what keeps the show going is the combination of serious songs and fun, and people need to laugh. They can't be song after song after song, and
of course.
So we brought both those things to the Opry.
So how did it feel to when you first became members of the Opry to finally make it to such an iconic point in your career?
Oh gosh, you can tell we were we are such historians and such appreciators of history and tradition, that to become a part of one of the great American musical traditions was just, we were practically speechless, of course. It was incredible.